Good evening. It starts getting dark. It's 3 p.m. So still have a long day left for midnight. So it's not supposed to be so dark. But let's read. I was thinking about to watch YouTube video. The cyberpunk game. But let's read. I've been out, put a lot of old books to garbage, then I buy more cola. I will make this sausages later. And potatoes, brown gravy, but this is not an English vlog. This is a video I'm reading about nuclear bombs. I'm reading about nuclear, but I need something to drink because I just watched news on Twitter called X. I've been using Twitter more than 10 years. I'm using Twitter to follow news. No, this video is about how to build a nuclear bomb. I'm not going to build a nuclear bomb. I think many countries like to build a nuclear bomb. Like Iran. Iran like to have a nuclear bomb. South Africa actually had a nuclear bomb in the 90s. I did not know that. So I need my jacket on because it's winter. Yes, I need a minute to go to my bed. I did finish my cola, so let's read about it.
Nuclear weapon design. The first nuclear explosive devices, cumbersome and inefficient, provided the basic design building blocks of all future weapons. Pictured is the gadget device being prepared for the first nuclear test. Trinity. Nuclear weapon designs are physical, chemical, and engineering arrangements that cause the physics package, 1, of a nuclear weapon to detonate. There are three existing basic design types: pure fission weapons, the simplest, least technically demanding, were the first nuclear weapons built, and so far the only type ever used in warfare, by the United States on Japan in World War II. Boosted fission weapons increase yield beyond that of the implosion design, by using small quantities of fusion fuel to enhance fission chain reaction. Boosting can more than double the weapon's fission energy yield. Staged thermonuclear weapons are arrangements of 2 or more stages, most usually 2. The first stage is normally a boosted fission weapon as above, except for the earliest thermonuclear weapons, which used a pure fission weapon instead. Its detonation causes it to shine intensely with X radiation, which illuminates and implodes the second stage filled with a large quantity of fusion fuel. This sets in motion a sequence of events which results in a thermonuclear, or fusion, burn. This process at its potential yields up to hundreds of times those of fission weapons. 2. Pure fission weapons have been the first type to be built by new nuclear powers. Large industrial states with well-developed nuclear arsenals have two-stage thermonuclear weapons, which are the most compact, scalable, and cost-effective option, once the necessary technical base and industrial infrastructure are built. Most known innovations in nuclear weapon design originated in the United States, though some were later developed independently by other states. 3. In early news accounts, pure fission weapons were called atomic bombs or A-bombs, and weapons involving fusion were called hydrogen bombs or H-bombs. Practitioners of nuclear policy, however, favor the terms nuclear and thermonuclear, respectively. Nuclear reactions. Nuclear fission separates or splits heavier atoms to form lighter atoms. Nuclear fusion combines lighter atoms to form heavier atoms. Both reactions generate roughly 1,000,000 times more energy than comparable chemical reactions, making nuclear bombs 1,000,000 times more powerful than non-nuclear bombs, which a French patent claimed in May 1939. 4. In some ways, fission and fusion are opposite and complementary reactions, but the particulars are unique for each. To understand how nuclear weapons are designed, it is useful to know the important similarities and differences between fission and fusion. The following explanation uses rounded numbers and approximations. 5. Fission. When a free neutron hits the nucleus of a fissile atom like uranium-235, 235U, the uranium nucleus splits into two smaller nuclei called fission fragments, plus more neutrons, for 235U3 about as often as 2, an average of just under 2.5 per fission. The fission chain reaction in a supercritical mass of fuel can be self-sustaining because it produces enough surplus neutrons to offset losses of neutrons escaping the supercritical assembly. Most of these have the speed, kinetic energy, required to cause new fissions in neighboring uranium nuclei. 6. The uranium-235 nucleus can split in many ways, provided the charge numbers add up to 92 and the mass numbers add up to 236. Uranium-235 plus the neutron that caused the split. The following equation shows some possible split, namely into strontium-95, 95 senior, xenon 139, 139Xe, and 2 neutrons, N, plus energy SAD-7. The immediate energy release per atom is about 180 million electron volts, MeV, i.e., 74 TJ/kg. Only 7% of this is gamma radiation and kinetic energy of fission neutrons. The remaining 93% is kinetic energy, or energy of motion, of the charged fission fragments, flying away from each other mutually repelled by the positive charge of their protons. 38 for strontium, 54 for xenon. This initial kinetic energy is 67 TJ/kg, imparting an initial speed of about 12,000 km per second. The charged fragment's high electric charge causes many inelastic Coulomb collisions with nearby nuclei, and these fragments remain trapped inside the bomb's fissile pit and tamper until their motion is converted into heat. Given the speed of the fragments and the mean free path between nuclei in the compressed fuel assembly, for the implosion design, this takes about a millionth of a second, a microsecond, by which time the core and tamper of the bomb have expanded to plasma several meters in diameter with a temperature of tens of millions of degrees Celsius. This is hot enough to emit black body radiation in the X-ray spectrum. These X-rays are absorbed by the surrounding air, producing the fireball and blast of a nuclear explosion. Most fission products have too many neutrons to be stable, so they are radioactive by beta decay, converting neutrons into protons by throwing off beta particles, electrons, and gamma rays. Their half-lives range from milliseconds to about 200,000 years. Many decay into isotopes that are themselves radioactive, so from 1 to 6, average 3, decays may be required to reach stability. 8. In reactors, the radioactive products are the nuclear waste in spent fuel. In bombs, they become radioactive fallout, both local and global. 9. Meanwhile, inside the exploding bomb, the free neutrons released by fission carry away about 3% of the initial fission energy. Neutron kinetic energy adds to the blast energy of the bomb, but not as effectively as the energy from charged fragments, since neutrons do not give up their kinetic energy as quickly in collisions with charged nuclei or electrons. The dominant contribution of fission neutrons to the bomb's power is the initiation of subsequent fissions. Over half of the neutrons escape the bomb core, but the rest strike 235U nuclei, causing them to fission in an exponentially growing chain reaction. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, etc. Starting from one atom, the number of fissions can theoretically double 100 times in a microsecond, which could consume uranium or plutonium up to hundreds of tons by the 100th link in the chain. Typically in a modern weapon, the weapon's pit contains 3.5 to 4.5 kilograms, 7.7 to 9.9 pound, of plutonium, and at detonation produces approximately 5 to 10 kilotons of TNT, 21 to 42 TJ, yield, representing the fissioning of approximately 0.5 kilograms, 1.1 pound, of plutonium. 10, 11. Materials which can sustain a chain reaction are called fissile. The two fissile materials used in nuclear weapons are 235U, also known as highly enriched uranium, HEU, or alloy meaning oak ridge alloy, 12, or 25, a combination of the last digit of the atomic number of uranium-235, which is 92, and the last digit of its mass number, which is 235, and 239Pu, also known as plutonium-239, or 49, from 94 and 239. 13. Uranium's most common isotope, 238U, is fissionable but not fissile, meaning that it cannot sustain a chain reaction because its daughter fission neutrons are not, on average, energetic enough to cause follow-on 238U fissions. However, the neutrons released by fusion of the heavy hydrogen isotopes deuterium and tritium will fission 238U. This 238U fission reaction in the outer jacket of the secondary assembly of a two-stage thermonuclear bomb produces by far the greatest fraction of the bomb's energy yield, as well as most of its radioactive debris. For national powers engaged in a nuclear arms race, this fact of 238U's ability to fast fission from thermonuclear neutron bombardment is of central importance. The plenitude and cheapness of both bulk diffusion fuel, lithium deuteride, and 238U, a byproduct of uranium enrichment, permit the economical production of very large nuclear arsenals. in comparison to pure fission weapons requiring the expensive 235U239Q fuels. Fusion. Fusion produces neutrons which dissipate energy from the reaction. 14. In weapons, the most important fusion reaction is called the DT reaction. Using the heat and pressure of fission, hydrogen 2, or deuterium, 2D, fuses with hydrogen 3, or tritium, 3T, to form helium 4, 4He, plus 1 neutron, N, and energy SAD Smiley 15. The total energy output, 17.6 MeV, is 1/10 of that with fission. But the ingredients are only 1/50th as massive, so the energy output per unit mass is approximately 5 times as great. In this fusion reaction, 14